rising, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining us this morning. At 9 o'clock a.m., we will close our social media and continue on Zoom only. Join us by getting your Zoom link at elizabethvisionaryconference.org. We'll be there until 10 a.m. You can join us now, and we'll see you in the Elizabeth Zoom room. Today, your hosts are Raziya Curtis and Andrea Hetheru. Enjoy.
Well, welcome everybody.
Good to be here.
Yep, and here we go. All good? Life good for all?
Yes, all good. No complaints.
And your mom, your mother-in-law?
She's doing fine. You know, I am presently out of town and I haven't been as in touch with her lately. So, but she's doing well.
Oh.
Thanks for asking. How sweet.
Oh, you're welcome. I thought that's where you went, was to take.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm thinking about my godmother. You're talking about my mother-in-law here. Yes, she's fine. Thank you.
Okay. In other words, everybody's fine. All is well.
Yeah, so many mothers. I love it. It's like mothers everywhere for me. Yay.
Yay. Yeah. Right. Yay. All right, Mama Evelyn, how's everything going in the art world? You have to turn your sound on.
Yeah, I don't want any background noises to interrupt, but yep, it's going fine. I'm I guess I'm comfortable working on more than one thing at a time. Well, you know, sort of simultaneously getting ready for Saturday. And I did post a flyer on the website, didn't I?
I don't know.
Okay. I thought I did.
On the Facebook?
Yeah, on the Facebook. Yeah. I think I did.
Okay. I haven't, if you did it yesterday, I haven't checked yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, just
life is just doing what it's doing, huh?
It's doing what it's doing. You know, this Virgo part of me has me, you know, I'm trying to keep it straight, but making a mess, but keeping, you know, looking at the mess to still try to create, looking at the mess, got to clean up the mess. So
I know, right?
Yeah. Woo.
Oh my goodness. Oh, the boss that I had when I first started working, I would sit right in front of him. He was behind me, his desk, and I was right in front of him, right? And he said, Sheila, all you do is take one stack of paper, move it over here, grab another stack of paper, put it right here, finish that one, move that over there, grab another stack of paper and move it over here. All I was doing is just shuffling paper everywhere, doing all of his projects, right?
Right.
But yeah. Well, Raziya, welcome.
Greetings.
Amazing.
Greetings.
You can take it from here.
Well, I'm glad to be here this morning, and I would like to just invite us to take a deep breath and look at what we have in front of us today. The glaring message today is that we need to be very aware of what the program is regarding our health, the health of people of color. We have one of our team members who will be speaking with us on the legacy, the work of Dr. Laila Africa.
Mm.
And so today we'll have a chance to really delve into the nature of nutrition and how we've all been affected by a use of nutritional science to affect our
Yes.
health and to direct us to a place that is not good.
Yes. Well
Um,
said, Raziya. Mhm.
So we'd like to just delve into this today with our open minds and just thank God for Dr. Laila Africa, a
Yes.
great
Yes.
spirit that walked among us for many years.
Mhm.
So I'd like to present to you Deitra Porter, who will be able to take us into this space of awareness. And I'm just so appreciative of her to do this, because we often forget that bit of information that's right in front of our face.
Yes.
There are some things that we've all looked at and said, I wonder why is this? I wonder why we don't do this. Why are they just continually advertising this product, knowing that it's not, that it has a lot of side effects, but yet we just kind of keep going. Here is a chance to look at some of the root causes of what is happening with this in our culture. So I don't know if we're on and ready to go and get started, but we hope that this will be an eye-opening and heartwarming experience for all
Thank
of
you,
us.
Raziya. Yes. 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 Should I bring up the PowerPoint now?
You can. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, can everyone see Nutricide on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, I want to begin by stating that stating a little disclaimer. A lot of what will be read today talks about Caucasians and Africans. But I want you to know that I'm not a person that really is out to slam Caucasians. I'm not. And so I will read some things that will state that. But I am a believer in white domination because it happens, it's real, it's part of our lives. A white supremacy, however you want to put it. But that comes across to me when I read or talk about this issue. So I want to just state that, it's not out of any kind of malice or anything for another people, but I'm really just stating what's our reality. If you want to say that, quote unquote reality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. I just want to say that first. Okay, so as you see on the screen, it says Nutricide, the nutritional destruction of the Black race. For me, when I read this book, or I've been reading it presently, for many years, I didn't realize, that it was a concerted effort to destruct, my people. I didn't realize this. But through this reading, I found out a little bit more. And so I want to share some of what I've found. Okay. Now, my personal background, for the longest time, for about maybe at least 10 to 15 years, I've been interested in becoming a naturopath, because I realized that, it's important that I understand what helps me nutritionally and how I should eat and that kind of thing. So I wanted to actually get some book knowledge about it too. So then in about 2007, I was introduced to Dr. Africa's work through a video that I watched. And from there, I really became more interested because he, kind of shares glaring things that make you pause. It made me pause anyway. It was to the point that I listened to his video, read his books, and I wanted to go in on his weekend training. He used to have a training. You can go to where he lived, to his home, and he would do a training with you on becoming a naturopath. And I thought, oh my God, this is great. However, we know how life can take over. I wasn't able to do it, but because, some other things happened. I was raising children and everything, my children are young. But I still remember how interested I was to get involved with this, so that I was going to go and travel to go to his class, his training. So I want to just let you all know that's how much I really like this. I mean, I was really interested. Okay, now let's see, going to the next screen. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, it says nutricide definition. Let's see, genocide, because that's when you hear the word nutricide, sometimes you might think of genocide. So I put both of these definitions are listed. Genocide is the deliberate and systemic extermination of a national, racial, political, or cultural group. Nutricide is the use and application of nutrition science to achieve genocidal objectives. So this kind of ties it together. Did anyone want to say something?
No, I was just saying, wow.
I know, right? Okay, let me go to the next screen. Now, these are 6 books by Laila Africa. I have 2 of them, Nutricide and the Holistic Health Diagnosis, which is, oh my goodness, he put together that diagnosis book. I mean, it was filled with information to help you with anything, but it's a big book. It's really, really thick. So it goes over so many things about the human body. Are any of you familiar with any of the other books?
Well, I have African Holistic Health,
Oh, okay.
which
Okay,
is
that's good.
just a Bible. He also wrote a book on the Gullah people.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
And that's where I met him. I met him in the Gullah Islands when we were doing those retreats every year to study with our people there. And the other book I have is Nutricide, of course.
Yes.
And so those are my 3 main books. I think I have a 4th one. I couldn't find it.
Okay, yeah. Is there anyone else?
I have several of his books, and Howard, I studied with him and got his certification.
Oh, really? Oh my goodness. Awesome. Oh, that's great. Okay, well, thank you all for sharing. But I just thought it was wonderful that he has been writing about these things for so many years, and even as late as 2018, I'm saying, wow, he's really been trying to get the word out about how we should eat and different things. So I just want to share those. Okay. Oh, let me go back. Okay. I have the Nutricide book, and that's what we're gonna go talk about a little bit today. And so in chapter 1, and there was 6 chapters, and chapter 1 is called Nutricide. And what I wanted to do is, I know you all can read, but sometimes, just hearing this could be helpful, just to get it going a little bit. All right, it says, if a person, in parentheses, Caucasian, would send another, in parentheses, African, into bondage, in parentheses, slavery, he would, it appears to me, be bad enough to send him to hell if he could. Harriet Tubman. And that really kind of moved me because, well, of course, Harriet Tubman, she was living in that day when it was very pertinent, that people were getting killed. So that kind of moved me. Does anyone else have feelings about that statement?
Wow.
Say it again.
Okay, you want me to read it again? Okay. If a person would send another into bondage, he would, it appears to me, be bad enough to send him to hell if he could. Harriet Tubman.
Of course, yeah. That was clear thinking in those days.
I know, right? Right? It sure was. Okay.
Well, when I looked at that statement, it really helped me to just recognize the depth of, I don't use the word evil very
Right.
often, but that someone could be this uncaring, unloving, unappreciative of another human being.
Right.
To
Yes.
send them into bondage. And as you read different responses from those of our people who experienced slavery, many times they said, I'd rather be dead, than to continue this.
Exactly.
Before
Yes.
I be a slave, I'd be buried in my grave. You heard that. So basically, it means that it's a devastating situation. And if you're willing to put someone there, you're also able to kill someone.
Oh, yes. Yes. Thank you, Sister Raziya. All right. Now, in each chapter, I pulled out something that was significant, that I read. And I thought I would share, at least one little excerpt from each chapter. So in the Nutricide chapter, I wanted to share this one. The nutritional genocide of African people, which is called nutricide, is a reality that must be faced by Africans. Nutricide is the deliberate and systemic alteration of foods in order to cause physical and mental diseases, genetic mutations, and or death. When I read that, it really made me wonder, how can people be focused on taking out another people like that, and we see it, as we learn and grow. Well, let me speak for myself. As I learn and grow, I realize that a lot of things, especially in our food, is detrimental to our health, and so the more and more I learn, I'm I'm sorry, somebody just walked in. I'm very, just concerned about our people, and are we paying attention? Does anyone else have any comments?
Well, one of the things that I just like to share with you, I was sitting in a large auditorium, and the speaker was Dr. somebody, and she was talking about healthy lifestyle, healthy ways of eating.
Okay.
And she looked in the audience and she said, I see a few members of African descent here in our audience. And I just want to tell you, my heart goes out when I think of the dietary patterns.
Yeah.
Do you know that when you heat when you cook a substance at boiling temperature, frying to the point that it smokes,
Yeah.
when the heat is hot enough to smoke, that it turns carcinogenic.
Yeah.
And it hurts my heart when I think of the fact that that's a favorite way
Yes.
of African American cooking.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
it took me back to when I was a little girl. I was about 6 or 7, and my mother was getting me started on cooking, classes and how to do this and that. And she said, now you turn your heat on under your skillet with the oil in it. And when it starts smoking,
Yeah.
you drop your chicken in.
Right.
Drop your potato in if you're doing fried potatoes. And I said, wow, that something that subtle is related to our high rate of cancer.
Yeah, that's right.
And there are other ways of preparing chicken or
That's
potatoes,
true.
but
Well, thank
that
you.
wasn't emphasized in
Right.
many of our communities.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's right, though.
Could I make a comment?
Yes,
Quickly?
yes.
The word nutricide, when I think about our food, I think about the government, like when they give you the commodities and things, these are foods that at one point in my life as a child, I thought was cool, Spam, government peanut butter, that big box of cheese and all. And, as I've gotten older, I've been taught through the years by people like Mama Raziya to read the labels of these.
Yes, yes, yes.
And what gets me is that you can grow stuff in your garden, or you can go to the places like Whole Foods or other health food stores and get foods that have less or no chemicals in them, and you spend a big price for them. But to get free food or
Right.
or your neighborhood store, they got all kind. I mean, what is that? High fructose corn syrup.
Yep,
I'm
exactly.
the first ingredient, and people don't even acknowledge that. Now, practically everything you got that's got flavor in it, it has something called maltodextrin. What the heck is that? That's a new nutricide ingredient. I mean, the
Exactly.
point I'm making is that people who have not been schooled on how to eat healthy for their body's good health, they're being every day bombarded with this nutricide activity.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing that, because
You're welcome.
it really inspires me, because we got a lot of work to do. It's a lot of us, but it's a lot of people need to know better ways to do things. And it's interesting because I thought about, this whole pandemic, and, people are being more conscious now of their health, because they don't want to die. Don't nobody want to die. But they're realizing they have to think about this whole thing differently. A lot of them do, some of them still in the old school way of thinking, but I think they're coming around a little bit. Is
Yeah.
someone talking?
No, I was just gonna say it's hard to watch some friends of mine, well, a friend of mine, feed her grandson, fries from McDonald's.
Right.
I can count on one hand how many times I've given my grandson McDonald's.
Okay.
It's less than a couple of times. And anytime he bring, he's not a fast foodie type kid, because
Okay.
I just didn't do it,
Right.
Yeah, I just, to get to be this age and just realize the concerted effort
Yeah.
of people to just destroy you because of who you are.
Exactly, exactly. And thanks for sharing that. And it's interesting, even now, you see in news reports or whatever, how fast food is totally, I mean, it's totally horrible what they putting in that food in order to make a profit. I'm like, oh, yeah. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, chapter 2, health. And this is where it says the most difficult thing to get people to do is to accept the obvious.
Mm.
I don't know if people even see the obvious. I mean, things are right in their faces, but I don't know if it's just wanting to be blind to the fact that is there, or just ignoring it. But something I found out even here with myself and changing a way I eat is that it's a mental thing. It's like, oh my goodness, I've been doing this for this much time. It feels too weird to change. It's like, it's interesting, how in our minds, it has to start in our minds, I think, because we have our taste buds, true. But,
Yeah.
oh, someone want to share something?
No, I was agreeing.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, the excerpt in chapter 2 I want to talk about is this, because like I said, I pulled things out that really kind of made me think take a pause. But it says, cooking food destroys the quality and quantity of life. Even that one sentence is like, woo, okay. Because I've been eating cooked food, for many years, over half the life expectancy is totally lost by cooking food. Ancient Africans consumed an over 90% raw food diet and were free of disease. Adults had the constant energy of a child, required less sleep, had no rotten teeth, heart trouble, sex organ diseases, mental illness, colds, childhood diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, arthritis, and lived to be over 150 years of age. That's uncommon these days. I mean, every now and then they'll have it on the news, somebody lived to over 100, but Africans with high blood pressure believe they get disease from picking up paper all day. That is paperwork, administration jobs, while their enslaved ancestors on a mostly raw food diet did not get hypertension, high blood pressure, or stress from picking acres of cotton every day. The Caucasian's evolutionary ape-like cousin, the orangutan monkey, lives on a raw food diet and is free of disease and has a long lifespan. The orangutan's human cousin, the Caucasian, eats cooked food and is continuously diseased with a short lifespan. There is no safe cooked food, be it an apple or spinach. All cooked food is anti-melanin and anti-life. Added to cooked foods are drugs such as salt. It's interesting that we can see, it's stated that that's a drug: salt, white sugar, cooking oil, or animal grease. Vinegar, alcohol, synthetic dyes, preservatives, and toxic spices that irritate the digestive tract. Cooked food perverts the taste buds and chemistry of the body. That was very profound to me, the whole this whole excerpt. Does anyone have any comments?
I would like to say that it's interesting that those are called drugs or chemicals because they were so accustomed to the taste of raw foods. They didn't need anything to enhance the flavors like we
Right.
in this modern lifestyle is, and we're paying for it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The more I cut sugar out of my diet, the more I'm able to eat things that have their natural flavors. Like every time I visit my sister and Mama Raziya, I learned something new. And the last time I was visiting, she made watermelon slush. Nothing, and
Yes. Yeah.
with the seeds in it. There's nothing added to it. It tasted like some manna in liquid form. I mean, it was just so
Yes.
good. Almost every day I make me a watermelon slush now and drink it
Oh,
all
wonderful.
by
Good for
myself.
you.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is that the more we get accustomed to learning how to eat and agree with the taste of and the meeting of our taste buds to the natural taste of foods, the healthier our body is because it's learning to adapt to what it was designed to do.
Yes, very much so. Oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you. And Raziya, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it was years ago when I was jolted into reality. You were saying something, this was earlier in the discussion about how we seem not to realize or we seem not to be thinking of what's going on. And I was at lunch at a restaurant, and here was this lady who was sitting kind of across from me, so I could not avoid seeing her. She had her place setting, and she had 3 or 4 bottles lined up right in front of her plate. And she just automatically knew that the food was going to cause her gas or
Wow.
pain, and she would eat and she would take this medication. That was her
Wow.
ritual. And I said, what is this?
Right.
If you know that the thing is going to make you sick, why would you eat it? But she would eat it, and then she had the pill to take.
Wow. Mm.
And that really jolted me into starting to think of what I was doing or what others in my life were doing regarding eating the wrong foods.
Exactly.
The other thing I just like to say is that live foods they have enzymes. Now the body has enzymes naturally, but not enough enzymes to cover all of the whole cooked food meal.
Right.
So that it's the fact that the Africans were eating all this raw food, they were preserving their natural enzymes.
Yes,
and
thank
able
you
to
for
handle
sharing that.
life. Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, that's a great point. And thanks for sharing that recollection of an experience you had, because I could see that that would be something I wouldn't forget. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on, right? Is there anyone else? Okay. Now, chapter 3 is about children. Let us not forget that it is our duty to remedy any wrong that has already been done and not ourselves perpetuate the evil of race destruction. That was from Marcus Garvey. Okay, now this one was another article, another segment that I read. I was like, oh, because, I'm a mother of 2 boys, and when this talks about the birth of the children, and I realized that, I didn't want a shot, an epidural shot, for pain and stuff. I'm saying this is natural. I should be able to do this without getting drugs. So I didn't get that, but listen to some of the things that he shared with us in this book. Caucasian medicine treats a child's birth as if it is a disease process. They interrupt birthing by giving the parents junk food that retards growth. They give the mother drugs that go directly into the baby's body. Drugs and Caucasian nutritional standards cause the African baby to try to breathe before being born. In this case, the baby may have a bowel movement and attempt to breathe, causing it to swallow amniotic fluid that can have its bowel movement in it. The baby has a bowel movement before birth due to shock and overstimulation in response to junk food and drugs. Drugs retard growth, slow down learning, and interrupt the baby's ability to bond with its mother. Drugs cause the baby's immune system to get exhausted, and junk foods deplete the immunity as they overstimulate the sympathetic nervous system. They activate serotonin out of its natural cyclic pattern and depress melatonin. Depress melatonin. When I read this, I was like, oh my goodness. You know, I tried to be as natural as I could with giving birth to my children. But it's interesting, the little sad things that could be going on. But I was with a midwife and she didn't do too many extra things, thank goodness. So that helped me out. Does anyone have anything to share on this one?
When they started giving us, giving the children or babies immunization shots.
Yes.
And it was like 1, then 2, then years later, it was 30.
I know. Oh, horrible.
And my question was, I mean, they couldn't give my baby 30. They couldn't even give my baby 1.
Exactly. That's
So
right.
I'm very concerned how asleep or how trained our minds are, particularly among our own family group, to receive these shots or allow their children to receive these shots without question or without fighting. And like the brother said years ago, the revolution would not be televised.
Right.
All of this is a part of the revolution. And I'm not quite sure myself personally. I have been on this track now for 50 years.
Yes.
And I don't see that much of a change. And I look at my own family and they know how I eat. They love to come to my house and eat.
Oh, good.
But they don't do it at their own house.
Right. Right. But thank you for sharing that, you know, because it's interesting when I think about, especially vaccinations for my children. I remember I had to fight with their doctor every time she tried to give them, you know, a shot or something. I was like, no. And then we was back and forth arguing. I'm like, you know what, I don't, you know, now that I think back on it, I'm like, why did I even take time to deal with that? But, you know, but I had to go through it. But they didn't ever get vaccination. None of that, none of those things. So.
Well, Sister Deitra, I did not know the danger of vaccinations with my first 2 children, but even that, they were not given these vaccinations at birth. You know, the children now, the babies are given vaccinations on their 2nd day of life. They're given a shot, and then they're given more shots. I think by the time a child is 18 months, may have had 16 or 17 shots already.
Right.
And I just never thought I would see the day that we would be this extreme. So my personal fight was I think my children had their first vaccinations at 3 or 4, my 2 older children. By the time my baby girl came along, I said, no vaccination for her.
Okay.
And we did not allow it. But we've had to, all through school, she was confronted. There were days when I was called to school and my baby girl was sitting in the office crying because the teacher had taken her out of class and they exposed her situation to the whole class, You're not
Oh my
vaccinated.
goodness.
You're dangerous to the rest
Oh
of the
my
students.
goodness.
And
Horrible.
so there's a lot of stuff going on in America. And it's similar to the COVID situation,
Right.
where many parents are being forced. When I talked to my daughter about the grandsons coming along, and I had gotten 2 doctors, a naturopath, to give information, and I mailed it to her and so forth. And she shared with me in their city, Atlanta,
Uh-huh.
there was a lot of forced compliance.
Oh,
There
wow.
were parents who had read Dr. Africa's works,
Okay.
and they were threatened jail time or children taken away and so forth. So it's very serious.
Oh, it is.
It's a very serious situation that we're faced in this country.
Right. Because even with me, people are saying, oh, you're getting a shot and different things like that. And I was like, no. And then they were like, but why? And I told them it's been 30 years since I believed in not getting shots and vaccinations and stuff. So this is nothing new for me, and so, that's why when my children came along, I didn't do anything with them in regards to vaccination. So, even today's time, it's just a given for me. You just say no, but it's not, it's because that's the way I chose to live, and thank you for sharing, Mama Bay and Raziya.
Mama, Hania has her hand up.
Oh yeah, please. Okay, go ahead.
First of all, I wanted to apologize for the when you asked did anybody have any questions, and I forgot about the raise the hand, so I didn't mean to just blurt right in.
Oh no, I think you're okay.
Well, I just wanted to add that when I was 17 years old, giving birth to my first child, I tell you, they gave me a spinal block, they gave me gas, and nobody even dared to think about that she needed all this, because I was well prepared. I was riding my bicycle the day before I had to give birth, because I was 17 years old, But it's just amazing how they want to take over, like they have the right answer when they are seemingly experimenting all through life, and one experiment causes another experiment till modern technology takes us in another realm where we're almost robots now,
Exactly. I agree. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Mama Bay.
The damage to our psyche, to our minds, and our ability to think for ourselves is extensive. When we talk about helping our people and giving them information, there are a lot of blocks, cinder blocks, in front of that, their ability to receive it. When I went with my daughter to the doctor, take her children, and I've learned that quite a few of the doctors don't really think either.
Right, exactly.
They're following protocol.
Mm-hmm.
And so we asked the doctor questions about the shots. Not that I had to ask, but my daughter wanted to find out things. And the lady said, well, this shot right here, they won't need that one after they're 5 or something like that.
Okay.
So I still decided, my daughter said, well, they don't need it now. So
right.
So I'm just saying that she didn't really know. You could see in her eyes that she was just following, like I said before, the process, the protocol. So we have to, I don't know how we're going to help our people out of this dilemma, but we just have to keep on plugging away at it and bring the information.
There you go. We got to keep trying.
Yeah. And since a lot of our people are under the Christian persuasion, I use the Bible. I said the Bible says, know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Right.
And you're not free, so it must mean that you don't know the truth. So it says, study to show yourself approved before God. It says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So instead of just talking about how our people are being destroyed, get the knowledge to protect yourself from that, ultimate destruction.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Mama Evelyn here.
Okay.
Yeah, the evolution of my life from where I trusted the doctors completely when my daughter was young to, and she's 38 now. She'll be 38 this in the next couple of months.
Okay.
I believed in it. It wasn't that many shots, and it wasn't done till she was older.
Okay.
She and I actually did take the vaccination that they had, and then I didn't get the booster. I said, no, I'm not, no, because I was afraid.
Yeah.
But my grandson, no shots. No.
Okay.
And even his school, they respect your right to make the decision for your child.
Oh, good.
And they do
Good.
not punish for that, because it's a private school. So they're not under the guise of
the state.
So she decided, nope, not giving him. And a lot of his classmates, and now he was exposed several times.
Okay. Okay.
His father's fiance, her 2 kids, because he was over there for the weekend. We had my daughter's roommates who live in the basement.
Miss V Diaper Bank.
They had it. All of us have been exposed, but none of us have gotten it, because I said, I'm just not going to, I'm going to do all I can. And for him, he hasn't had it. He
Wow,
had
well,
classmates.
good.
He had classmates that had it, and he was like, either he wasn't in school before they found out the classmate had it, or he was sick already from something else, and then when we went back to school, he was past where it was. So we won't vaccinate him. And I just from going from really trusting the doctors to not trusting them at all.
Oh,
and now
I am so with you on that. I am. Oh my goodness.
I've been, diagnosed with, I do have my doctor now, who's very busy. Obviously, I don't know if anybody knows Dr. Betts, but she's
That's my doctor.
Yes.
Yeah, but she's she's trying to, my sugar, they've got me worried about it, and so I'm going to I don't know if anybody knows Neza.
Yes.
The chef. Yes. She's got a protocol, because she has cured her diabetes, and her doctor is like not believing it.
Okay.
She is no longer considered a diabetic. And so I want to, and that's what I need. I need someone to help me realize what it is that is causing it, and how to counteract it. Now, about the cooked foods, it's just better to eat mostly raw. I don't have a problem doing mostly raw. But I do like salmon, and I do like chicken, but I do it with a huge amount of lettuce and other vegetables in a salad.
Yeah, whenever you cook, though, it changes the Raziya, I might be saying it wrong, but it changes the nutrients in the food, so it causes it to be a carcinogen. So so whenever you put heat to something, it's going to change it. So whatever you eat, like fish or something, it's going to change the dynamic of what's good for you in the fish, so.
Well, I'll chime in here. When we are looking at the value of raw food, the value is that it's superior nutrition. If you eat green beans that are chopped small and marinated, they're going to have a different nutritional value to you than the cooked green beans. But the sister's question is very, very important, in that the live enzymes that you get from the salad or from the fresh raw juice is going to do the body good. If you eat the salmon, you've got a nice dose of live enzymes and roughage to help you digest that dead food is how we refer to it.
Right.
So the fresh food brings the dead food back to life, or balance it out so that you're not so harmed. The most harmful meal is an all cooked meal. And many of us in our culture will eat food daily, 2-3 times a day, and might never touch a raw food, might not remember to eat fresh raw fruit, not eat a salad. I've gone to parties and I've seen the food is gone from the master table, but there's a big salad left.
Right.
So that folks were reaching for the salmon, for the bread, and so forth. One of my teachers said, if you are going to eat some meat, try to make it a smaller amount than you might have grown up on, and eat your vegetables, your salad, your even steamed vegetables have a value. But the salmon, the chicken, not to combine them with bread.
Right.
Mother Bracer used to say, I just hate that Dr. Sandwich. The man who taught people how to make a sandwich. She said that was terrible
Right.
because they were combining a protein and starch
Right.
in the same bite. And that was a digestive challenge.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you are absolutely right. Thank you for sharing that, Sister Raziya. Yes.
Well, what's the challenge for me as far as my grandson is concerned is because I'm tapped out of trying to figure out what to feed him that is nutritionally, because he used to eat all of his salad. Now he's kind of, but I have to really force him eat the salad, and he will eat it. Because sometimes, dinner is tuna on lettuce, it's a tuna. It's a salad with a lot of lettuce, and that's dinner. So you eat dinner, you eat. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, Sister Ellen, I've actually become a fruitarian. I'm going to that. I'm slowly getting over to it. So you know what? If your grandson likes fruit, maybe he can actually eat that. If he likes a certain fruit, you can have that available for him. That'd be good. Okay, and you had your hand up? Yes.
You know what, my grandsons, I'm so sad I don't get to see them these days, another story. But when I would visit them and stay the night and all that, I always make for them in the morning, instead of a sugary cereal thing, I cut up the Granny Smith apples.
Yes, yes.
And I'd sprinkle cinnamon on it. So now we got something to deal with the blood sugar for these hyper children.
Right.
And then I put fresh lemon juice with the vitamin C in there, but also keep the apples pretty white, the inside, so they don't get.
That sounds good. I feel like getting one myself.
Girl, let me tell you, my children, my grandchildren who love them sugary sweet, they ended up eating and turning the cup up, drinking the juice from the cinnamon. The cinnamon has a naturally kind of sweet kind of flavor to it.
Yes, yes.
But my grandson who's 14 now, who used to turn up his nose to anything that was cooked or vegetable, he'd look at like, oh, grandma, get that off of there. Now I have to fight him for the salad. I make a big bowl of salad. He loves it. So I think fruit like that, especially that Granny Smith apple, it kind of opens you up to be more readily acceptable.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me for sure.
Same here.
I have a question to, whoever. If it, in particular, Deitra, since you're going over to fruitarian, and they say that the vegetables do one thing and one builds up and one cleanses.
Exactly,
So
yes.
how do you get if you're only on the fruit side, how do you get what the vegetables do?
Well, you know what? It's actually a percentage. You can do 60-40, like 60% fruit and 40% vegetables. So, if I'm not sick or anything, and I really know what my body's doing, I don't have to eat vegetables to
Mhm.
do any type of thing, so I can just cleanse all the time, because eventually, this is going to be a little ways away, but I know this sounds crazy, but I want to be a breatharian, where I can breathe and get my nutrients from the sun and the air. And
So when are you moving? Because you in the city. I don't know how you're gonna get it in the city with this mess.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And
yeah.
I know you're not gonna move to LA because that's really bad.
I know, right?
You have to live in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah, right. So no, but to your question, it's a percentage. So you get a little bit of both.
Okay.
Okay, yes, the hand. Yes.
I was thinking that if it ever gets to a point that we're confined to our homes, and it may get to that, at some point we need to start collecting plants to be in our home, because our plants will help cleanse the air.
Yeah,
And
it gives
there's
you
little
oxygen.
things, you know something, I don't know if anybody ever saw this movie Limitless
Yes.
with Bradley Cooper. That is one of my favorite movies, minus all the yucky violence that's in there. But that people don't believe it, but there is a point where whatever you need, it'll come to you what you need to do. And I believe that will happen when we're in the right environmental energy. But if we're under a state where we have to be in a house, I think plants for sure is something we need to have, because when you're pouring chemicals, they tell you don't pour it down the drain, or don't pour it on the sidewalk, pour it in the grass. The grass filters it out, or the and stuff. So there's just a lot that we have not been actively having to assimilate, because we're so bombarded with things to survive in this system that it's on constant survival, with the things they've given us to survive with. But on the internet, there's a brother, I forget his name. He actually is a breatharian. He's a brother. And
really?
Yes. Okay. I have to find, because there was something I was reading. You know how the internet is so keen about sending you stuff that's likeness to what you've been.
Right, yeah.
And this brother, he talks about how he take the coconut, and squeeze some lime juice in there. That's his water. He don't even drink water. He had been out drinking the contaminated water or whatever, but and he looks real healthy. He's real agile, not overweight, real muscular like, and he goes around telling people how they can do it, because he's become a breatharian.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's
inspirational. I thought you would ask me what station, but I need to find it. I think I sent the link to myself at some point, but every now and then he'll come up. I just think it's amazing how people like him show examples that it can be done,
Yes, thank you. But as we you hear about, it's gonna be a food shortage, some different things are happening. And I'm like, you know what? I don't, it's refreshing and freeing to know that I don't need it. I don't care if it's a shortage. I don't need it. So that's a good feeling to have, though.
I'm getting to that point, because I'm realizing the more I reserve my rights to eat what I want to eat, the less meat I need. Because every time I eat chicken, which is less and less these days, I get so full of mucus. And I'm one who will get that stuff out of me. I do not let it stay around in the body,
Well,
but the point is,
good.
The point is, I notice when I eat that chicken, it happens.
Yes. Thank you for sharing.
Mama Hania, can you put the name of that movie in the chat?
You mean with the brother, with the breatharian, or?
No, Limitless.
Oh, yes, with Bradley Cooper. Okay, let's see.
I think I saw that, but I'm not.
Yeah, I have the movie. If anybody ever want to borrow it or whatever, or some kind of way, but if it ever go out, I just think that movie showed some real details about how things can be. It's a little fictitious with some of the surroundings, but I believe that our brain has been designed to know everything we need to do.
I love that. Isn't that nice?
Yes.
Is that the
Nice
one
to
where
know.
he takes a pill or something?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
It gets kind of vicious, but what makes it vicious in there is the fact that the people want to sell it. You know, they want to
Exactly.
sell it instead of teaching people how to make it or use it in constructive ways if it came down to that. But I think that's where the vicious parts comes in when it's all about the money. When that comes in and buying and selling things that are not for our good, that's where we get real vicious in life here.
Mhm.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. All righty. Let's see. Let's see. Do you need to turn it over to just
9 o'clock?
I mean, not YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Well, Facebook and YouTube, we are going to close out our social media part. You can join us for the rest of the time. We'll be here till 10 o'clock. If you go to elizabethvisionaryconference.org and then hit the button that says Zoom and get the link and come on in and join us. And then you just join us every day with that. We're here Monday through Friday. Thank you and peace out.
Bye-bye. Okay, I'm going to move on to chapter 4. And
Mhm.
it's called, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. It's called Craziness. Not only must we teach Black people how to use food nutritionally, but we must teach them to do it within the context of their own culture. Dr. Alvinia Fulton. Because what I've found is, in regards to this, is that a lot of times we do things because we've been conditioned to do them based on my mother and father. They knew a certain way of doing things and I adapt that, but it might not be good for me. And also when it comes to our culture and going to the doctor and knowing our levels, what's my numbers for this, that, and the other. It might be different because I am Black, so, and a lot of times the doctor doesn't let you know what your numbers are. They give you numbers, that they use for everybody, for white people and everybody. So it's been interesting, learning all these levels of how we need to really think about living, Anybody have anything to share?
Well, I just had a question about, I stopped doing fried foods years ago.
Okay.
But would bake or simmer on the stove.
Okay.
I did questions about air fryers because
mhm.
I like salmon croquettes, but
Okay.
I hated those. As far as I knew at the time, you had to fry them, but then the air fryer, it changed my life because
Okay.
they're done very fast and crispy. I don't know. Is
See,
the air
what?
fryers?
I don't know a lot about air fryers, but I was wondering when you mentioned it, does it use any kind of radiation, like a microwave? You know what I mean? Or, how is the food being cooked?
Oh,
They
that's a
say
good
air
question,
fryer,
'cause
which
I don't
sounds
know.
nice, but I don't know what's behind that. Does anyone know?
Right.
Yeah, is it some sort of radiation? That's a good question because I don't like microwaves. I hate them.
Right. Me too. I don't have one in my home, not at all.
Me either.
Me either. Nope.
You know what? I'm thinking about all this plant-based meat that's on the market now, and people don't question just because it's not meat. Oh, this is. You don't know where the heck they got some kind of crap out of.
I know that's right.
Design. So I steer away from that plant-based meat unless you break it down right, so I can see exactly what you're doing to it.
Amen.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one. I do.
And it's always got a lot of sodium, so it's like. which sodium isn't bad, but it's much more than you should be taking in one setting.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I read that, they're taking embryos, and especially when women, the placenta, they're taking the evidence of that and putting it into our food. I mean, it's so much
the food
craziness
is-
going on. You don't know what you're eating.
That's right.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, now let's go to this.
Come down to that.
Okay, now what I'm going to share right now is something about, our bodies being, you as I read it, you'll hear it, but I follow a gentleman by the name of Yaki Awakened, and he shared with on a video that we are close to trees in our makeup, as humans, African humans, our bodies are similar to that of the plants and trees and things. It's a beautiful way he breaks it down. I wish I would have had it, but I wasn't prepared for that. But this segment from this book made me think about what Yaki said, that we're similar to trees. But I'll read it and you can kind of pick up. It says, however, the human body has not changed, nor is disease reactions changed. God gave us a human life that you live with understanding and a human body that is easily understood, which when he said that, I was like, oh, really? I don't know my body like, I want to know it, but it's supposed to be easy to understand, which is I'm learning. That's all I'm going to say. I'm learning.
Mhm.
The human body is a small universe. There are planets, bushes and grass, which is vegetation, on that skin, the topsoil of the earth. There is also vegetation on the skin of the digestive tract, except medical people call it flora, which means vegetation of the earth. There are animals and insects that live around vegetation. There are animals and insects that live around the body's flora, except in science, they call it bacteria. Now, when I read that, it was confirmation because I've read many times that our bodies are primarily bacteria. It's a lot of bacteria in our bodies that is interacting and trying to, do what it's supposed to do. And you're going to have good and bad, but you have other things that are fighting the bad. And, so it's a lot going on that we do not realize. And I want to learn all about it. It's exciting, the evaporation of the waters and oceans and lakes causes water to go up to the sky where the temperature is below freezing. The water vapors turn the negative charged snow, then the fluffy light snow rises higher into the sky and clusters together, which forms positive charge hail. The heavy positive charge hail starts to fall and collides into the negative charge snow that makes energy, lightning. The same thing occurs in the body. The negative charge cells collide with positive charge cells, which make energy for your body to function. The body is not difficult to understand. I mean, it was just profound to me that all this is going on in our bodies that we don't even think about really. It happens whether we, acknowledge it or not. We really, so when I read this, I'm like, oh my goodness, all this is happening in me, so does anyone have anything to share on this one?
I do.
Okay. Raziya, I mean, well, whoever,
Hania.
Hania, you want to go ahead?
Yes. It was also through Mama Raziya, but I'm just sharing what an impact was on me because when I met Mama Raziya, there's a lot that I needed to learn about natural foods and all, but I was in the groove, and I was on one of those retreat trips where we were in South Carolina, and we were on a tour with Dr. Lila Africa, and then
Okay.
we were involved in a session, a lecture in that trip. And I remember of all, I didn't get the book, I didn't read it. I've read some excerpts from it and all, but I didn't have the book. But I remember in that lecture that he gave to us, talking about how our skins were actually more colored green because
Yes, yes.
yes, I'll never forget that. I thought, wow. I mean, we've come from modernity and being taught how to eat and do certain things for our lifestyle, that we've forgotten about the things that we knew when we were that pure, you know.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
I'll never forget that about Dr. Lila Africa's teaching.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yes,
Yeah.
Raziya. Sis-
Well, it's interesting. I've been in lectures with teachers who say we evolved from plants. We were once green, and we were much smaller than we are now. And we were very flexible. The nearest I came to seeing a human that was closer to that stage of evolvement was in Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
And he was in the trees. He was telepathic, evidently, because I was standing there on the veranda of the porch. It was beautiful. It was like the Garden of Eden. We were near Kingston, Jamaica, in a special place for our rituals and workshops with Melodoma Somé. But anyway, this I was standing there and I said, oh, that's so beautiful. I would love one of those coconuts, because the coconuts were just hanging from the trees, just lush. And in seconds, in just 2 or 3 minutes, this little green like man came to me and reached up and handed me this coconut. He had taken a machete,
wow.
cut it off so that I could drink the water. And he just scampered away.
Wow. Oh my
So
goodness.
he was able to read my thoughts, I think, because he couldn't have heard me.
Right.
I wasn't speaking that loud. So I just want to say that I am concerned about what effect the drugs and the surgeries and the procedures that we have, what effect do they have on our intelligence, our awareness, our
Right.
ability to be the body that is the self-healing body that
Yes.
God
Oh my
gave
goodness.
us. So this is why I joined the discussion to say to people, please take a serious look at what you're allowing when you allow those injections and what was being perpetrated on the people, currently, because they have the ability to change your God-given healing body.
Right.
What we're talking about here in this reading is it's true, but how does it handle bombardment of foreign substances?
Right. I mean, that's a good question by all means.
Yeah, so that is one thing for us to be concerned about. But we do have extraordinary self-healing bodies if we can continue to give them the right tool.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Give them a right tool, and also stop giving them things that's not good, that they have to work on cleaning up, so yeah. So anybody else?
You know, I just wanted to share with everybody how I'm in a position in life right now where I'm really trying to get back in the groove of the network of people who kept me alive with this type of mental, emotional, and spiritual growth that we're sharing here.
Yes,
Because
yes.
we have been locked like in a little cave somewhere where we don't even realize we're locked in there when we don't reach out with questioning or finding out more about how
Right.
things really work. And I'm finding that there are some things we've been taught. I'll tell you, I mean, listening to what we're talking about right now tells me that if we were created to be perfect, it wasn't necessarily a woman who deciphered something that made it bad, but we've been taught to think that it was the woman
Right.
who
Exactly.
took that from us. But what it appears to be now is a man who thought that he needed more money, more power, that was the culprit, you know.
Right.
And all the things that we need to know, they're still here, but as long as we keep thinking that's the way, we don't take
Exactly.
the time to look that way. So
That's
that's just
right.
a
Yeah.
comment that
Thank
came.
you. Oh my goodness, that's powerful. Thank you for sharing that, because I mean, literally every day of my life now, I think about, you know, why am I doing this? I question everything. You know, I've been conditioned to do so much.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, and I'm like, okay, all right, you know, I have to rethink everything. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, it's interesting too is that I'm one of our sisters that come on this call one day. I don't know when she comes, but she has a group of people called that's reading A Course in Miracles. And oh my goodness, and I love it. I mean, it's kind of, I read it before, but I'm reading it again. And it really makes me think, like, you know, what I see is not real. You know what I mean? Is, you know, is this what I'm, you know, who taught me to think that this is this, you know, or this, you know, so it's been wonderful, and I'm learning, and I realize that I have to stay on this learning boat or trip forever. You know what I mean? I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the next thing. Okay. All right, chapter 5, chemical madness. At some point, like right away, we are going to have to deal with the destructive effects of fast food, TV, integration, and village breakdown. And this is by Kiari T.H. Cheatwood. I mean, that is a lot being said there too, you know. You know, we are, you know, like I said, I like that word conditioned to watch TV. You know, we watch a lot of television, you know, and we've been integrated for years now, and it's like a way of life, but it comes with some downsides that we need to pay attention to, you know. In regards to everything we do, from work to our food to, you know, just being integrated with the people. And we want to, you know, a lot of us want to be like them. You know, we want what they have, and how do we get it, you know, and whatever. So we go through actions like they do, you know. So all right, does anyone want to share? Okay. All right. So, oh, go ahead.
Deitra, I don't know. I was looking to see chapter 5, but I believe that particular, about the village madness and the different things. Maybe that's the chapter that was so threatening. I think I told you how when our organization asked Dr. Africa to come and speak here in Detroit, and we asked for, we tried to rent a large room at one of our local colleges. And that school said, who is this? They want to know who was our keynote speaker and what was our program like and so forth. And we told them what we'd be doing. We'd have some vendors and we'd serve lunch, a vegetarian lunch. And our speaker would be Dr. Laila Africa.
Okay.
And so they immediately investigated and, checked him out to see who he is and so forth. And they came back with, well, we think we can let you have the place, but you must not allow Nutricide, the book Nutricide, to be sold at your
Oh
event.
my goodness.
We will close you down immediately. Now, this
Wow.
was in the 90s. This was in the late 90s. Okay.
Okay.
So this page that you just read is probably one of the pages that was seen as a threat or something that they did not want
Okay.
the larger
Yeah.
public to think about or to know about, because now, what is this, 95 was when the book was published, and we're in 2022. So we're in it.
Right.
This is what was that
We
he
are.
could see. He could see way ahead that if we continue to do what we were doing, we would be in chaos. There is not hopeless. It's not hopeless, but there is work to be done if we are to overcome, and get through this.
That's true. And you know what? It's a moment by moment, definitely day by day process. We can't, let up.
That's
We gotta
right.
make sure we stay on top of it. Thank you, Mother Raziya. Okay, now this, I pulled this out. The EPA estimates that chemicalized indoor air is 1,000 times worse than chemicalized outdoor air. This was an excerpt that I pulled because, I'm with the Sierra Club, which is a grassroots organization, national grassroots organization that looks at our air, water, and ground, the dirt and all that. So we look at, what kind of contaminations are happening in our air, our water, and our dirt. So when I saw this, I was like, wow, you mean I've been on different, what do we call them? When you speak before the EPA, because I've done that. I spoke before them on making sure that our air quality in a certain area is made better. But then when I looked at this, I said, oh my goodness, you mean this could be, the outdoor air could be, indoor air could be worse than the outdoor air. And I said, wow, well, let me look at this thing. So it talks about some of the possible effects of indoor air pollution. And it talks about bronchial constriction. And what's interesting too is I thought about being a teacher in a town called River Rouge. And a lot of our students had asthma. We had that was a big issue in us. Yeah. So I taught there for many years, and I lived there. Ironically enough, I lived in River Rouge as well. And so my sister and my dad had asthma around there. But then I looked at these different things and thought about, it could have been something inside the home. And one thing that was Sister Hania, you mentioned having plants in the home. That's very
from Southwest Detroit, River Rouge area too.
Oh yes, I know that. Yeah, that's right. So one of the things we talked about is making sure that all our families had certain plants in their home, and there are plants that have to deal with different pollutions. So it's very powerful.
It's interesting your voice just now started doing echoes.
Deitra, your phone is In and out.
evident in our community, cause depression, dizziness,
echoing.
drowsiness. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the other thing is fatigue, headaches, memory loss, pulmonary irritation. Can you all see the page?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
You can read that, but you can see that indoor pollution can cause a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on one call, we talked about the different things in the home that we use that can cause, like if you use bleach and, some of the fumes can get, can cause issues with you, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever else we choose to use. Are there any comments?
Well, one that I would like to share is I have a girlfriend who is a teacher, and she called me one day with very serious information. It was a surprise to her. She was working at a school that had put new carpet in some of the classrooms, and her classroom was chosen as one that would receive this beautiful new carpet. The very next day, after, she's in class enjoying and celebrating this beautiful carpet, she became very ill.
Oh, wow.
To the point of needing to go to emergency room. Difficulty breathing, eyes watered, and just not feeling well.
Okay.
And it was traced to the carpet.
Mm.
She had been exposed. There was so much chemical in that brand new carpet. And her being in there all day, and it was on her shoes and on her clothing and all. And so she had to be cleansed,
Right.
and get this stuff out of her system. So I think the book does mention those, the atmosphere that we're in, and the carpet, the flooring.
Yes.
We all know about lead in Detroit, the lead poisoning, all these things. And just to be aware, this is why they encourage us to spend more time outdoors
Right.
and get more fresh air.
Right, exactly. Thank you for sharing that, Sister Raziya. Anyone else?
Well, I have a friend who lives down the street from me. She's always complaining of health challenges, and I can't counsel her on her diet because she feels that she needs stuff, I guess. But she was telling me she had a upset stomach yesterday to where she had to lay down and she felt nauseous. But she's undergone all kinds of medical procedures and all, and she still eats. I said, well, was it something maybe you ate? She said, well, I just had a pork chop and
Oh my goodness.
and I'm thinking, I said, well, in the summertime, even when I was eating pork, in the summertime, I cut way back because you don't eat that kind of stuff when it's hot. But anyway, so her diet needs to be adjusted, but she still wears pantyhose and heat. And I remember how pantyhose is a thing that doesn't allow our body to breathe like women need to breathe,
Yep.
And I'm amazed at how many women are 70s or older and still don't understand some of the things that makes them sick,
Right.
But this is a woman, and a lot of her peers drink coffee all day long and don't think that something's wrong with that. And she's one of them. So I'm just saying how we've got to wake up and realize, in the wintertime, especially inside, the air we got vents all through the house. It's got lint and dust and stuff in there that is contributing to which is another reason why we need to have plenty of plants in the house to help filter some of that air too.
That's true. And every now and then, especially as spring comes and stuff, we need to open the windows.
Yes, indeed.
Right. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's good. But you know what? As we talk, I realize how all the things we share today, are things we need to that are happening right now, so it's not anything in the past, or something that's going to happen in the future. We're dealing with this today.
Yes. I'm recognizing how our humbleness in surrendering to the truth, but not judging people who have not got there yet, because if we love them,
Yes.
like that's what we need now, more love in the environment. So if we love them, we're not going to be afraid to give that little bit of humbleness and say, yeah, well, okay, and not judge them. But at some point, they're going to have to realize they need to change, make some
That's
change,
true.
question.
You're right. But you know what? The one thing that I've noticed over readings and videos or whatever is that they have to see us doing stuff. We
Yes.
can say stuff all we want to.
Yes.
If they see it, that's what that is the best teacher. Let them see us doing things, changing, trying to be better.
Yes.
But thank you so much. Okay, our last chapter, chapter 6, Once Upon a Time. And it says, our people must learn to make that analysis of what is good and healthy. It's Dale Jones, the war correspondent. And in this chapter, Dr. Africa talks a lot about our childhood stories and how they affect the way we start off living, because normally you have stories for little children. You tell them all these stories, and then they grow up with them. We remember stuff. We remember those little stories. Some of them were violent, and some of them were. We underneath we don't really realize what they mean, but as we grow up, we realize, like, oh God. They told us those stories as children. But okay, it says the African children stories usually have major themes. A message gets changed and a character has to seek the true message. Rebirth, rites or passage, in parentheses, of a character teaches various solutions of a problem. A mixture of 1 and 2 is stated in a story. And they use Mayat. The use of Mayat will solve problems. For instance, in parentheses, it says Ashanti, the spider stories, and Aesop fables. An African ethnic group called the Hottentots has many stories. One story is about the moon, in parentheses, unseen heavenly power, giving a message to a rabbit to tell Adam, in parentheses, Osiris, and Eve, in parentheses, Isis. The rabbit forgets the correct message and tells them a lie. The moon learns of the error and throws back a stick, in parentheses, rod of righteousness, at the rabbit and splits his lip. Therefore, the child is told not to seek wisdom from those who lie. I just thought it was beautiful. Even though, it just touched on something that is very inherent. We shouldn't believe people that lie. Does anyone want to share about that?
Well, we got stories.
We do, yeah.
I'm thinking that whole statement, don't listen to the advice of those who lie, right? Because they're real talented at doing it.
Yes.
And the information they give to you, they'll find out what's your weakness, what do you like, what do you think you need, and we need togetherness. So I'm learning how the Cancer Society, for instance, they know how to get goo gobs of money, because what they've learned that people need is to fellowship with one another.
That's
so they
true.
Arrange these nice little gatherings for you to get to, and keep putting that money out there so we can find the cure for this cancer.
Right.
Add to us up the wahoo.
Yeah, that's true. I was talking to my mother-in-law actually yesterday, and she said, are they gonna find a cure for this stuff? Because my father-in-law has quote unquote cancer.
Okay.
And we were at the hospital, and I said, and I called her Momo. I said, Momo, it's too much money in this. They're not gonna try to cure this thing. People are making money. Goo gobs, like you said.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you.
And-
Go
well,
ahead. Go ahead.
At some point, if you want me to, I was looking for a link to get to this man, the breatharian.
Yes.
Elatim El, let's see, Elatim El Amin is his name. So I got the link. I sent it to my messages. So at some point, whoever wants that information, just let me know how to get it to you.
Yeah. How can we let you know to send it to us?
Well,
in
I
the
can get your cell phone number and send the link to you. Send the whole
Okay,
thing.
wonderful. I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Sister-
think it's in the chat.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
Yeah, somebody put it in the chat.
put what?
The breatharian.
Oh, it's in there.
Yeah, just scroll up to see it.
Okay, all right. So somebody else knows. So it's the same person, or it doesn't matter who, as long as they're talking about how to do that and how
Right.
their experience. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. I'm gonna make sure I copy it down.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna wrap things up here for me. Let's see here. Let me get out of here. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so this is a book, once again, Nutricide. And once again, I posted the definitions, genocide and nutricide. And just to let us know that there is, just be mindful of what you put in your mouth, literally everything, because we don't know, but we need to know. So if you don't know what's in the stuff you're putting in your mouth, it's probably best to say, I'll pass on this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you do more research.
Exactly. Okay. And Hania, it's so good to know that I have a fellow downriver person with me. So good. Good to have you here.
Yes.
And good to have you all. And thank you all for listening. I hope you learned something today. And I look forward to sharing at another time. I'll turn it back over to Raziya.
Thank you, Deitra. I just hope that this particular sharing has stimulated our minds and motivated us to really get more into this. This is very serious now. The fight is much stronger and more harsh than it was when Dr. Africa published Nutricide. Some of you remember that a few years later, we had a movie that came out. The title was Supersize Me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've forgotten the actor and the name connected with that. But I would encourage you, those of you who have the chance to put your hands on the book, Nutricide, and read it. I also encourage you to look at African Holistic Health by Dr. Laila Africa. This book is loaded with information on the looking at what's going on and then giving lots of information on how to deal with it. What herbs to take, what foods, how to look at the power of our mind, our intention, our belief system, the importance of what the ancestors gave to us. God gave us a self-healing body, and we have all the tools to be able to live a healthy, long life. But somewhere along the line, we've kind of bowed into the belief that man knows more than God.
Right.
And I marvel at how we just sort of different cultures, have moved into that. But one of the things that happened with me a few years ago when I came to Detroit and started working as a social worker, there's a phone call coming in, so I don't know if it's blocking can you still hear me?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. I was a therapist who worked with families, troubled families at all. And sometimes I ended up in the emergency room trying to go and sit with someone who had been beat up or what have you. There were other times I went to the emergency room when I found out that there was someone in crisis and there was no family member and no one to be with her or support her. But I one day I was sitting there and I said, I don't see any Chinese sitting in here. I don't see any Arabs sitting in here.
Right.
What's going on with some of these other cultures in terms of how they deal with physical emergencies,
Right. Exactly.
mental emergencies? And then I remembered we have documentation of having had what they called witch doctors
Yeah.
or voodoo priestess or any number of healing modalities that go way back in our history. And what caused us to abandon some of those, some of that awareness.
Right.
What we are the original herbalists
Yes.
and we're the original agriculturists. We brought seeds and we brought the knowledge here to America.
Yes.
We were in slavery, so it was forced, but many of us were already here when Columbus came.
Right.
Mhm.
So we have a lot of knowledge in our DNA.
Mhm.
So I'm just asking us to meditate, pray, listen, and rekindle ourselves
Oh, I
to
love that.
be the better person, because we have it in us, but we've allowed other people to tell us that, oh, this way is better. You don't know, and that's old fashioned.
Right.
Oh, what your grandma said, it just doesn't work anymore. This is better. This is better. And I'm telling you, these last 2 or 3 years have helped us to see
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
what realities we're facing. When I hear people like the sister who talked earlier about how she's working with her grandson and her family, and he's been exposed to all these children who had the diseases and, we're sick and so forth, but he stayed well.
That's right. That's right.
There is a lot that goes into why he stayed well. First, he has her as his grandma.
Yes.
Amen.
A praying woman, a woman of faith, a woman who is doing the best that she knows to do. That goes a long way
It does.
in helping that child stay well.
That's right.
I've been taught in the circles that I am in that sickness is 80% mental,
It is.
spiritual, emotional, and just 20% physical.
That's right.
Now, if there's any truth to that, we know the seriousness of what we've been through with the, one of my friends call it the lie of vision rather than the television. But, there was a lot of propaganda, a lot of misinformation perpetrated on the people.
Yes.
Not just Blacks, but all of us in America have been given misinformation, and now it's showing up.
Exactly.
The lies that were given to us in 2019 are now being broken down, and we're finding, oh, because I have many relatives and friends who took the COVID inoculation. It's not a vaccine. It's not, it doesn't hold up to the
Right.
definition of vaccine. Most of us know that.
Right.
So it's an inoculation, but anyway, they thought, well, I take this and now I'll be able to see my grandchildren. I'll be protected. I'll be able to go back to church. I can go out and go to the doctors safely. And then we were told, oh, it's not going to keep you from getting sick. You'll just not be as sick.
Right. Right.
It may keep. So many of us were surprised that the turnaround was so quick.
Right.
The information that was given 2 years ago, much of it has now been changed.
Right.
And it's a different thing. So let's go back to our basics.
Yes. Yes.
I am so appreciative of Deitra for reminding us that this book is a gold mine of information and sharing. And there are other books out here. Your Yaqui, the brother that you're getting your information from, Deitra, all of these, if you talk to them, you'll find out that they have some similarities. He has a lot of
Exactly.
similarities
That's
with
right.
Dr.
That's
Africa.
right. He's a
Dr.
mentor.
Africa's name is means light, Laila Africa, light of heaven, the light of heaven and earth. So he was ordained and purposely given to us for the
Yes.
period of time that he walked the earth. He transitioned, a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
But we are so blessed to have had this man come to us. He said he started as an herbalist. No, he started as a historian.
right.
He was, a man of letters and so forth. But he says, in order to really understand our history, you have to get into the herbs and the way of nourishment and the way that our people were able to thrive and
Yes.
survive insurmountable odds.
That's
My going down to the Gullah Islands as often as we did, we were reminded that our people were especially brought to South Carolina to work those rice those rice fields, because no other humans could do it. Other humans who had attempted, whites and so forth, the other people died of malaria or pneumonia.
Yeah.
Could not handle it, but we could. So
Right.
please know that it's been scary times, but we are a strong, resilient people. We are the root race.
We are.
And we have the Constitution, but we've got to start giving support
Yes.
to these temples that God has given us. We have
Exactly. Thank you.
abandoned, abandoned what we know.
Wow.
We have time.
Yes.
What Raziya is saying, with you all are sharing, is making me realize the very value and importance of us having support groups. There's a movie I watched the other day on Netflix called I Care a Lot. And I'm just in awe at how people in a system who are thriving to get our money, get our brainwashes, the first thing they look for is to see, who do you have supporting you in this life? Who do you have? And if you don't have anybody, the movie demonstrated how this white woman, and she's a senior, but I think the seniors are being targeted too, because they think we're
big time.
weak.
Big time.
Well, they see us as being incontinent, Alzheimer's, and arthritic. That's how they tag you. So they want to get your money, But
Right.
anyway, this movie was set up. There was a crooked lawyer, there was a crooked doctor, And this woman who just, she got all the money because she got the ward from the court to take to this woman and say, well,
I
you've been
saw that
in
movie.
my care. Yeah.
I saw that movie.
Oh
That
my,
scared me. I was like, what?
oh,
Oh my
she
God.
did it. Oh, God, if you feel like being overwhelmed with how this system is operating, I mean, because this was just an example of how, what like the vaccinations. I mean, it's like falsely gaining control of so many people by telling them one thing and they keep changing it to fit that lie that they done sit out there. So
Right.
I'm just saying, if you don't have a strong support group, and I'm so grateful that Raziya called me this morning to remind me, because I'm really getting ready to move back to the city, because this is where I come alive. This is where my support group is. And I came here to the Lansing area because I wanted to be that kind of strong support to my grandchildren. But their mother is so caught up in this system or caught up in her own way of thinking until I don't get to see my grandsons at all now. And she's
Oh
got
my
my son
goodness.
to a
Aw.
point. Okay, so I'm coming back. I left Detroit to be up here so I can be a part of their life and lift them, you know. But I'm forgetting some of the stuff that I'm about because I don't have people who are in
Right,
that
right.
type of strong support. So anyway, I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful that I got to listen to everybody this morning and participate in the conversation and know that we are strong support system for all who
Thank
need
you
it.
for what you shared too. Yes, and when you come back, make sure you reach out to us.
Oh,
I'm
you
going
know?
to be actually on the east side, and so if you go east side, call me up.
All right.
Ladies, I want to share that on Friday, I have a guest coming in. Her name is Allison David. And I met her in the class that I'm in because she had her hairstyle, same kind of hairstyle I have, you know. But I looked her up, her website and such, and she's a vocalist. And she will be with us Friday. Now, but this is what caught me to invite her. She has you know, her approach to music is very unique, and she was demonstrating how your voice can heal your body.
Yes.
And
Oh, whoa, that's
she
some
was
powerful
she
stuff
was
there.
showing, she shows a demonstration of, she's, you know, this area right here, and then she would hit this note, and the vibration of that note was healing the area that was in pain. So we really look forward to hearing what she does. And she does some other sound things that help with the body and help with the resting and the sleeping and all that kind of stuff. So she's a delightful sister. She's in the UK, so she'll be coming from afar. Yeah, so she's going to join us. I told her, so when I saw that, I thought she's got to come on and share. Yeah. And
This
she's
is Friday.
around. Yeah, this is Friday, and she's around mostly white people. I think her mom was Black. She's deceased, and she was just saying just imagining just coming in and being with all the sisters and stuff, you know. So I just wanted to share that, and that's about it. You know, I'm going to be sending tonight. There will not be a meeting because of the what is this moon thing? Yeah, and I'll be at a ceremony with that piece. But I will be writing I'm going to make a video and send it to you, leaders that are on the team directly. And yeah, and we're about to start some other stuff. Remember to get your book, The 4 Agreements, because we actually supposed to start that this Friday. If you don't
The 4
have
Agreements,
The
who is
4
that by?
Agreements. The 4 Agreements is by Don Miguel Ruiz, Ruiz. And it's an awesome book. It talks about the 4 agreements that if we live by these 4 agreements, our life will be impeccable. And then after that, in August, we will go into the 5th agreement.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Excuse me.
author. Same author.
yes. Mhm.
Okay, awesome. Hey, hello, beautiful ladies. Is this on, can I get this off Amazon or the bookstore?
Yeah, yeah. You-
Either or. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they're everywhere. The 4 agreements. And yeah, so Friday should be very, very interesting. And that's about it. Anyone have anything to share? The last comments?
So Friday, we're gonna be discussing the four agreements. Is that okay?
We'll start that book. A little bit of that, and then other things.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to know. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get the book before Friday then.
Yeah, it's really, 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 really
Oh.
It's really good. I read this a long time ago. I go back to it. It's easy reading too. Very easy.
Yeah, it is. It's really a good reference.
That means it's real interesting, because I'm finding if a book is real interesting, even if it's not easy reading, if it's easy reading, it's interesting.
Okay, well, give yourself some love. Give the world some love. Oh, before we leave though, Dorothy and Empress, can we just see your faces? Incognito.
Not right
Who is
now.
Lily? Who is Lily B?
Oh, and Lily B. Yeah, can we see some faces?
Gratitude, but I can't do it right now. I'm busy, so.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. Well, you've been involved though. You were in this chat room, boy, going to town. So thank you. Thank you.
I've been caught my head.
I've been going back and forth between one room to another room every time I heard something of interest.
So now,
I apologize. I've just been working and around in the house, and so I'm not presentable right now.
Okay. Yeah, it was funny when I exercised with Nawili and Fana. And so Fana always had that F on there, So we one morning we said, Fana, why don't you turn your camera on? And she said, because I'm in my birthday suit. I was like, oh, you exercise naked. Okay, leave it off. It's okay. So, Mama Ayaba, don't you have someone coming tomorrow?
I told you I had somebody coming. I don't remember telling you.
I don't know. I don't remember if you said something or not. I thought.
Oh, you just psychic like that. Yeah, he said he was coming. Not so much a guest as a person who has some very interesting. Oh, I know, because he's the guy who flies the plane.
Yes.
I remember telling you. Yeah. So he's gonna probably comment on several things, and he might go ahead on and expound. We'll see how it flows. Yes, he's coming.
Well, we'll ask enough questions for him to expound. So
exactly. Yeah. And I want to know what's the name of who's the author of this book again? And I've never heard of the book, so I wanted to know.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the thing. It's by Don Miguel Ruiz. I don't know if he's I think he's like Mexican or something.
Yeah, sounds like it's Latin of some sort.
And what is it about? Briefly, I mean,
So these are ways that you want to live, like the 4 agreements. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word.
Okay, all
The
right.
second agreement is don't take anything personally. The
Mhm.
third
That's one
agreement
line.
is don't make assumptions. And the fourth agreement is always do your best.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Sound like I wrote that book.
It's the Toltec path to freedom.
Okay.
Yeah, aren't Toltecs?
Yeah, Indians, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought so.
Mhm.
Okay. And then the fifth agreement is off the chain. Okay.
What's the fifth agreement?
Let me see. Well, let me see the first agreement, the second, the third, we go over a little bit of that. And then the power of doubt. These are chapters. The power of doubt. The fifth agreement, be skeptical, but learn to listen. The dream of the first attention, the victims. The dream of the second attention, the warriors. The dream of the third attention, the masters. And becoming a seer, a new point of view. And then the 3 languages, what kind of messenger are you? And then the epilogue, help me to change the world. So,
Wow.
yummy,
Yeah.
yummy, yummy, yum. You know, your best is always, it changes in every moment,
Mhm.
but do your best.
Even if you're not getting paid for it, if you do your best, you're going to get paid no matter what. You just give it, I think.
Yeah, always do your best. Do your
Mhm.
best. Do your best for you. Do your
Mhm.
best for who you represent. The I am is
Mhm.
do your best.
Mhm.
And it will come back, and it doesn't mean that it's going to come back from the person that you're giving to.
Right.
In some cases, I wouldn't want it to come back through them.
Right. Right.
You know, because they don't really have what I need, but I have what they need.
And
And
see,
yeah. So we'll jump right into that real deep in the agreements and how, because that's what that's what we're gonna do.
yeah, that's a powerful book there. Powerful information.
All right, love you guys. Love you, ladies.
Love you too. Thank you
Love you
so much.
all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mhm.